We are going to put a trigger warning: emotional manipulation, verbal abuse, misogyny, and SA. Am I overreacting to my fiance victim blaming me for my SA because I cheated on him? Me, 24, and my fiance, 27, have been engaged for around a year, and I've been doing a ton of wedding planning, and so has he. I started losing a lot of hair from the stress, and he knows this, so he suggested that I could relax and he would handle everything. My friends invited me to the club when they heard I was free for once, and I agreed. I did not tell my fiance initially where I was going, but I assumed he would guess where I was going because where else could you be going in revealing clothing at night? I know this might be perceived as disrespectful, but he has always been okay with whenever I dress like this, and I usually dress modestly anyway. He asked me where I was going. I told him I was going to the club with my friends, and he just said, okay. My friends picked me up. We headed to the club, and in that entire time, I did have a couple of drinks, and I tried to keep myself in check because I am an engaged woman, but my friends had me drink more than I intended. A man approached me whilst I was by myself in a booth, and he was trying to pursue me. I told him that I was engaged and to please leave me alone. He grabbed my hand to see my ring before he proceeded to reach his hand up my dress and forced my hands on him. I immediately pushed the effing lunatic and called my husband to pick me up since my friends were nowhere to be seen. He came to pick me up, and I was frantically explaining to him what happened, only for him to pull over and yell in an accusing tone, "What?" at me. Obviously, I didn't think he was mad at me because I'd think that my fiance would be the last person to be mad at me for something that wasn't my fault. I repeated myself, and he started driving again and kept responding to everything I said with, "But why did you let him touch you?" I was in disbelief and told him I didn't let him touch me, and I told him to leave me alone. He tells me that I shouldn't have gone to the club wearing what I wore. Started talking, slut shaming all of my friends who went with me, and questioned why I didn't do more to protect myself. I cussed him out because WTF? And then he tells me that he's the one who got cheated on and that I have no right to be angry with him because he was only concerned for my lack of self-awareness, and then started to make his last point about how going to the club was already kind of cheating and I should have consulted with him first. I'm seriously considering calling off the engagement, but we have been together for 4 years and he's never done anything to hurt me. We rarely fight, and he's almost always very gentle with me. This is the first time he has reacted this way towards me. I definitely saw him being aggressive with other people that weren't me a few times. I don't know if I should wait and talk to him in the morning because giving him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he's just tired, as I was from the wedding planning and isn't thinking rationally. Have your own partner be like, what? You shouldn't have worn that. And also, going to the club is not cheating. That is crazy work. Going to the club is cheating? Like, what are you talking about? I feel like this is one of those situations where there probably is some other things that we would probably be able to point out being not like involved in the situation. If she would list things they've gotten in fights about, or ways that he's reacted previously, or even ways that he's treated other people, because you know what? The thing is that it matters how your partner treats other people, not just you. Like, in my opinion, I want my partner to treat me with respect, and I also want him to treat everyone around him with respect, because that just shows the type of person he is deep down. And that shows, like, that he's not just going to randomly, what if he decides to act like disrespectful? He's acting disrespectful and aggressive to other people. Why couldn't that be you? Like, that's going to be you someday if that's what he's always doing to other people. What, like, yeah, you're the partner, but like, what if he gets really pissed off at you one day and he's like, lashes out on you like he's doing with other people? Like, no. It matters how your partner treats other people, like, not just you. Like, oh, he's so nice to me though, like, and I'm not like saying that's what she's saying, but I'm saying, like, when people are like, oh, well, you know, I don't even know an example, but I feel like I've been with a friend that it's like she's with like the biggest douchebag in the world, and it's like he's literally, everyone knows he's a douchebag, but they're like, oh, but like he's so sweet with me, and like I see this side of him, but it's like, okay, but don't you care about how he treats other people as well? Like, that should also matter. Someone said, do you guys talk about politics at all? Feminism? Did you read him as the type of guy to have this reaction or belief system? If this is out of the ordinary, maybe he misunderstood what happened. Other than that, girl, if this is how he thinks, you don't want to be with a man like that. Imagine the kinds of ways he would parent your daughter. As always, though, things are always more complicated in real life. If you really love him, maybe try couples therapy. OP said, I don't recall ever having any definite conversations about politics. Sorry, that's crazy to me to not have a definite conversation about politics when you're like fully engaged. All I know is that majority of his family are conservative, but he doesn't have a strong political stance. At least not that I know of, but he knows where I stand politically. I am absolutely not conservative, might I add, and has never objected to it. He has always been very respectful towards me and doesn't really engage with other women at all, if that says anything. And yes, maybe he misheard me, but I did repeat multiple times verbatim that the man had sexually assaulted me and he was listening. I'll consider couples therapy. Not sure how it'll work with this situation since this is the only troubling issue that we've ever had. Is it though? Is it? I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that. This man thinks that it's your fault because of what you were wearing and because you were at the club, and he has never showed you any inkling of being a crazy red pill man. Like, I just refuse to believe that. And also, circling back to the never talking about politics and being engaged, could never be me. Could never be me. Even if like your partner, like obviously not everyone is super up to date with like politics and super involved in politics. Like, I would say that I probably consume like, honestly, too much, I would say. I probably watch way too much. Like, sometimes I have to just take a step back and be like, girl, calm down. Even though I do think that it's obviously really good to stay educated and like, yeah, that's what's going on in the world. So if it's stressing you out, it should be stressing you out because that's like terrible things that other people are having to deal with like firsthand. So I do recognize that it's a privilege to be able to be like, let me turn this off actually because it's really working me up, when other people are actually in that situation and having to deal with that situation firsthand, and they can't just take a step back and turn off the TV to not like engage in that stressful situation. So yeah, I definitely think that's like a privilege. But like, personally, I'm very, very up to date with like politics and things, but my boyfriend doesn't. He knows like what's going on. He does know like the gist of what's happening, but he's not like searching for it like me. Like, I follow a lot of Instagram pages that are like news related and things like that, and like a lot of liberal Instagram pages, and I listen to a lot of news. I read a lot of news. I listen to a lot of like political commentators and things like that. And my boyfriend doesn't, but like we have had that talk. Like, we've had that talk. And even before, like, I obviously knew where he stood before we even had that talk, but like, yeah, I mean, he knows because obviously like I'm very outspoken about it, and I'm just like really get upset about it. Like, I don't even know what was it. It was like a couple weeks ago or something, like a month ago maybe, that I was like crying to him in bed because I was just like, so like, I can't believe what's happening in the world. Like, I just can't believe it. But yeah. Someone said, call off the engagement. This behavior only ever escalates, and you're very, very lucky to have seen it now before you're legally tied to him. He has just shown you that he doesn't give a single shit when someone has actively harmed you. You called him for help and he turned on you. What if you are assaulted again? We all hope that it won't happen, but we know the statistics. What if you have a daughter and she's assaulted? What if you have a son? What will he be taught is acceptable? This man is not a safe person to be married to. He will probably apologize and be all lovey-dovey after this, but you've seen the underneath the mask now. Those attitudes are dark and they run deep. Yes, agreed. And please talk to like, oh, talk to people about the way that they view, like, if this guy is not a caring, like, person, or they view women as objects or, like, things like that, it's like, that's something that you need to know before getting engaged to someone. I think you need to know every which part of them before getting engaged, in my opinion. Like, you need to know every crevice of that brain before getting engaged, because if there's even an inkling that you have even just the littlest bit of a chance to, like, do that kind of thing to me or say that kind of thing to me and, like, blame that on me, we are not vibing. I am not vibing with you. Okay, update 1, the next day. My fiance left home early this morning. I asked where he went, and he still has the same reaction to my essay he did the night that it happened. I'm very confused on what to do, and if I'm doing right by considering calling off the engagement. Some people are saying I'm overreacting, and others are telling me I'm not. Last photo is literally the dress I wore to the club, since people have questioned what I was wearing, which I don't understand how that's all pertinent to understanding that I was SA'd. I stand by the fact that I did not cheat on him, nor was I being secretive about where I was going. I didn't mention it when I should have, but when he asked, I told him. Simple as that. You can't just be okay with me going to the club and then come pick me up, but find out that a man touched me without consent and say that going to the club is in fact cheating. We are also very honest people, so if he did have an issue with it when I told him I was going to the club, he would have said so, and there was nothing to suggest that he didn't want me going. Oh God. I don't even, like, want to put this picture in of the dress because it's not at all relative to the situation at all. You could be wearing a string, like, you could be wearing dental floss on your nips and on your coochie, and I would still never blame you for being SA'd. And neither should anyone else. You could be walking down the road with your literal flaps hanging out, and I would still. That doesn't mean that you want to be SA'd. Like, I don't understand. Why do people need to why do people not understand that? I just don't understand. Like, just because I'm wearing revealing clothing, you think that means I want your greasy ass hands on me in any way, shape, or form? Like, no, you idiot, you literal imbecile. Also, this dress it's giving, like, Mormon. Like, in comparison to what I've worn that's, like, revealing or, like, risky, this is Mormon. This is on the Mormon side of things. I would see this girl and never once be like, you're wearing something very revealing. Are you kidding me? But regardless, that doesn't even matter. Whatever. I'm so annoyed. Okay. Let's read the text messages. She said, I need help. He said, taking a break as you did. She said, okay, and that's fine, but it feels like you're doing this out of pettiness. He said, whether I am or not, can you blame me? Haha, laughing crying emoji. My soon-to-be wife got effed up at the club and allows another man to touch her. Being cheated on before my wedding does not feel great. She said, I did not cheat on you. I should be able to dress how I want, and you have always been fine with it. I didn't tell you initially where I was going, but I did tell you before I left. You had every second to tell me that you didn't want me to go, and I would have stayed, and you know that. He said, I let you go because I didn't think that you would go and practically F another man. Another man touched you, and that's cheating. She said, okay, so it's the fact that I went to the club or the fact that I let another man touch me. Tell me right now, because this is contradicting whatever you said to me the other night. I can't believe you're still hung up on the idea that I cheated on you. Why is the fact that I cheated on you more important than my well-being? How can you, the man I love and trust with my deepest vulnerabilities, fixate on your wounded pride instead of wrapping your arms around the fact that I was violated? Please wake up. I'm furious, but mostly heartbroken that you don't care to consider what happened to me. He said the whole point of you going to the club was to relax. I let you relax because I care about your well-being. There's no room to care now when you took my consideration and went and cheated on me. I apologize that it happened to you the way it did, but you go to the club, dress provocatively, and don't expect a man to try to F you? BS. If you had an ounce of respect for me then you would have apologized and we can go from there. She said I didn't dress a certain way to be SA'd. That sounds absurd and is extremely disgusting of you to say, dude. I dressed how I did because you nor I have ever had an issue with it, and I did it for myself, not for anyone else. I'm sorry, but I've been feeling very ugly these past few months given that I'm watching my figure for our wedding and losing a ton of hair on top of that. So yes, I did go to the club dressed like how most girls would going to a club because it made me feel pretty. He said all the excuses in the world, but an apology with an upside down smiley emoji. She said, "Where's your apology?" He said, "I did apologize. I'm sorry a man like that approached you, but it's not right to blame everyone but yourself." If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytime society and become a member on there for extra content. Love you. Dude, don't even talk to this man. This man does not even deserve a singular breath out of your mouth. A singular letter typed out to him. He doesn't deserve it. He deserves cruel and unusual punishment. And I don't even care. He's ridiculous. If he dressed revealing, would he expect to be essayed? Like, please, tell me the logic. How did she cheat on you? Because she got violated and someone that she didn't consent to touching her touched her. How is that her fault? How should she take responsibility for that? I mean, this is like kindergarten level shit. Like, I feel so stupid even saying this stuff because this is kindergarten level information. Any person with one even brain cell would understand. And this man is a full-grown, full-blown adult. Like, please. He needs to be jailed. Yep, I said it. Jail from birth and then work his way out, please. All right. Same day, 3 hours later. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the advice, and I think I will be following through with calling off the engagement. But before I do, I need advice on where to even begin. We've sunk about $12,000 so far into planning out of an original $35,000 budget, with a rough split of 60% from us and 40% from our families, mostly non-refundable deposits that are killing me right now. Breakdown of what we've paid. Venue, $4,500 deposit, 30% of a $15K total, non-refundable after 6 months. Wedding dress, custom alterations already done, $2,800 total with $1,200 paid up front. Photographer, $2,000 retainer, 50% of a 4K package, non-refundable. Florist and invitations, $1,200 combined, mostly sunk as invites went out 3 months ago. Catering, tasting, and planner consults, $1,500 in fees and deposits. The wedding was for 120 guests, so we've also got non-refundable travel booked for 20 out-of-town family members. Flights, hotels totaling $3K, but that's on hold. Should I immediately contact each vendor to negotiate partial refunds or offer to transfer deposits to another couple? For resellable stuff like the dress or decor, we have $800 in custom signage. What's the best platform? Facebook Marketplace, still white, or eBay? And how do I price it without undervaluing? Do I need a lawyer to review contracts for shared expenses with my ex? We're not married, but some was joint. Or is small claims court worth it for anything under 5K? Also, any tips for breaking this to our families without a blow up? My parents are out 2K already and super invested emotionally. I am very lost, so any stories or advice from anyone who've been through something like this would mean the world to me. Well, if your family cares about you at all, they will want to hear about the fact that your fiance blamed you for being essayed. And if they don't, then that's just a whole other situation that you're going to have to deal with, which I don't wish that on anyone. But if they genuinely think that you should stay with him after that, then your family is also just as big of a POS. Okay, this is the final update, and it's 4 days later. Starting off by saying that I'm so incredibly grateful for the overwhelming support and advice. Reading through nearly 4,000 comments wasn't easy, but I did my best, especially with the long ones. This is my final update, as I don't want to prolong this discussion on Reddit. I informed my ex-fiancé of my decision to end our engagement. He was angry, but didn't try to harm me, so I'm safe for those of you who were concerned. About 3 or 4 days ago, I told him I was questioning our engagement. His initial response was, "Are you joking?" and he ridiculed me until I confirmed I was calling it off yesterday. He brought up the money spent on the wedding and questioned how we were going to handle those who contributed and what we were going to tell them. I assured him that I would take care of it. He then ranted about throwing away 4 years, saying he didn't care who was the victim anymore, and that he'd never make such a decision because he loved me, ending with, "This is effing crazy." I'll address some questions I was receiving, and yes, even those asked with less than kind intentions, and provide more context. The SA occurred 2 weeks ago on a Saturday. The first person I told was my sister the day after because I couldn't face my fiance, nor could I bear it alone. I did not personally tell the rest of my family, but my sister passed it on to them for me. My mom called to discuss and was supportive, though I do feel like there's still some disappointment from her and others. People were also accusing me of infidelity and saying I wasn't telling the full story because I didn't detail the assault and questioned whether I reported it or not. My focus was on my engagement, not the incident itself. No, I didn't report the assault. I was frantic and just wanted to get home. I repeatedly told the man to leave me alone before he touched me, but it happened very quickly. I froze, then pushed him off. Once I processed what was happening and left immediately. I didn't think to report it in the moment because I could not stand another second more in there. I will try to return to the club to request footage when I'm in a better headspace because I don't want this to happen to another woman, and I'm baffled that people think that's what I want. Absolutely not. Here's the missing context that I was hounded for. I didn't plan to go to the club. My friends who are single women suggested after my ex-fiance told me I could go out and relax, saying that he would handle all the wedding planning for the day. I was alone at the booth because they wanted to dance while I didn't. I haven't contacted vendors yet, but I am surprised and grateful for the logistical advice and support offered. If you replied under that comment, I likely saw it and you didn't go unnoticed. Finally, this decision wasn't based solely on Reddit. I was thinking it before I came and told my story here, and Reddit only validated that I wasn't overreacting and encouraged me. I'm aware strangers don't fully grasp my situation to make such a huge decision for me. I know that. To those in my DMs calling me stupid or worse, who also seem to be mostly men, your disgusting misogynistic words won't change my mind. This is my decision, and thank you. The reporting part bothers me so much. Like, you think if you were SA'd, you would immediately be like, let me call the cops. No, you'd be like, maybe some people would, but you don't know how you're going to react to that. Like, why does that mean that it's not real or it's not valid because they immediately didn't want to call the cops and report something? I don't understand why that's like always the thing. I was literally just listening to a podcast today of some girl talking about her opening up about her SA, and some of the comments were like, why didn't she report it? Why didn't she call the cops? Like, she's going on a podcast talking about it, but she didn't call the cops. First of all, you don't know if she called the cops or not, or if she reported it or not. And even if she did, that's none of your business. And it doesn't take away the fact that she was SA'd. Like, a man will make any excuse. I mean, and even women, like I saw, like misogynistic women. I mean, misogyny runs deep. Sometimes I find myself being like misogynistic and I have to like reprogram my brain because it's just so it's deeply ingrained in the world and like just the world. Like, this is so unrelated, but everyone's like saying how bad Taylor Swift's music is, and like, I will be the first to say I'm not a Swiftie, okay? Don't hate me, but I just don't like any of her music. I loved her music like when I was younger and when she was like country and stuff. I don't like her music anymore. I think that's like, it's fine. I just don't like to listen to her music. And I have other people that I like. But like, people are shitting on her so hard for like certain lyrics, which some of them are like, okay, yeah, maybe that is a little cringy. Maybe that is a little cringy to be writing songs about, but like, it's always like, why are women always getting shat on for their lyrics or the way that they promote their albums or their cover art on their albums? But like, yet men are sitting over here like talking about the worst of the worst. There's some songs out there that literally talk about like raping women or like murdering people and terrible things, or yeah, just so many. There's so many things. There's so many terrible songs out there that the lyrics are so bad, but I don't see them getting slack at all, ever. But anyways, I'm stressed out right now. Okay, I didn't really expect this to turn into me shitting on a man, but hey, what are you gonna do? Okay. This is a downvoted comment, and it says, so was it touching and nothing else, or was it more physical and you didn't go into much detail? Neither situation is right and is not cheating, and you're right to call it off. Like, you don't even have to be dressed a certain way to be assaulted. He's out of touch with reality, and you deserve better. I would 100% go and press charges. Wait, I'm so confused. And then OP responded, for your curiosity, I've said multiple times how exactly I was SA'd, and I guess that's up to you to interpret the way that you want, but personally I was confused and terrified. It was not just touching to me, I was violated. I was also coherent and wasn't drunk to the point where I could make up my own version of events and dismiss whatever cheating anyone thinks I did. And then someone said, can you have someone else close to you call the club about saving footage? A lot of businesses delete footage fairly often. You shouldn't have to deal with it yet if you don't want to, but hoping someone can ask them to hold on to it. I'm glad you left and wish you all the best. I'm wondering also in the beginning when she's talking about where her friends are like totally nowhere to be found and just left her alone. That's what I'm wondering. You're telling me you were all alone and your friends just left you? Not one person stayed with you? What? Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.